One of the things that really stands out about this situation tonight is the word legacy, especially Giannis. When you talk about him deciding to stay in Milwaukee and sign the Supermax and decide to become a Buck long term, what would winning a title tonight mean for his legacy as well as the city of Milwaukee?
Well, first of all, it's going to be a tremendous thing for his legacy. The fact that he's one of the great players in the game, a reigning two-time league MVP. You take that into consideration along with the fact that you stay in Milwaukee, you sign for $245 million. You don't depart for a bigger market with a super team joining forces and shifting the balance of power, and instead you stay put. Guys come to you and you ultimately win a championship. That says a lot about you. When you do it with such a level of dominance, averaging 32 and 13 in the NBA Finals, that also contributes to the level of dominance. So we got to take all of those things into consideration. But more importantly than anything else, what a huge, huge lift it would be for the National Basketball Association, because rather than big-time superstars trying to join forces to capture a championship, you have him as the standard to point to say you don't necessarily have to do that. You don't need to have another superstar or two other superstars. You could be a superstar and you could have two all-stars with you and you could still get it done. That is the story that would be written about Giannis Antetokounmpo if he was able to capture a championship tonight in Game 6, or if it goes to a Game 7, captures it Thursday night. That's what everybody would be saying about him, and he'll deserve it.
Okay, now, yesterday on this same show, SportsCenter, Kendrick Perkins said that CP3 needs CPR. You told our L. Duncan that. When you hear that kind of statement, and you see this team has lost 3 straight, and you're trying to find out what happened to Chris Paul from what we saw in that first game to where we are right now, what does he need to do tonight to force a Game 7?
I think he needs to know his personnel better and know who to get the ball to and when, and dictate the action from that vantage point. The Milwaukee Bucks are bigger, stronger, more physical, more athletic. They know it, and they expect to be playing downhill tonight. They're going to go in attack mode. That's what some of them told me last night. And so when you look at it from that perspective, now we transition to what the Phoenix Suns need to do. The only way it seems that the Phoenix Suns can beat this Milwaukee Bucks team is if guys play like stars and you're hitting shots from the perimeter. CP3 scoring 21 and having 11 assists, that's a plus. Devin Booker dropping 40 in back-to-back games, that's a plus. But you're going to have to get a third wheel involved. And even though DeAndre Ayton had 20 and 10, that's not enough. He's a lone ranger on the front line. We know that he needs all the help that he can get, and it's going to have to come from the perimeter. So to me, Monty Williams and CP3 have to collaborate with one another to make sure they get somebody else involved. My selection would be Cam Johnson. This brother shoots better than 47% from the field, better than 45% from three-point range. He's got a lot of potential, and he's been open. They need to find him, get him more involved, get him the damn ball, and pray that it's enough to ward off Milwaukee in Game 6. That's what you need to do.
Last 2 games have been fantastic. We'll see if CP3's leadership can stand out, especially in the final minute of the game. Stephen A. Smith not going anywhere, going to join us later on SportsCenter, as well as his own.
If you think about CP3 and what we talk about, what do we talk about, KP? What do we talk about, Max? We talk about him being what I use as what I call the quintessential point guard. The kind of guy that comes out of the womb and looks tailor-made to play this position. And what is a true point guard? The true point guard is the person that makes the people around him better, that maximizes the skill set that's available to him, that peels out whatever exists inside of you to make you all that you can be, not just as an individual, but as a team. And when you look at it from that perspective, and you look at Phoenix right now, that's not what we're seeing. No matter how good DeAndre Ayton has been, there's something more you can get out of him. We need to see that. No matter how great Devin Booker has been over these last 2 games, there's certain things that he could do a little bit better, like his decision-making and not trying to play hero ball every single minute he's on the floor. The most glaring thing to me, Kendrick Perkins, about CP3, and Max and Molly knows where I'm going with this. My God, Cameron Johnson can shoot the damn basketball. How in God's name does this guy average 24 minutes a game this series? And over the course of 5 games, he's taken a grand total of 30 shots with his shot-making ability, shooting better than 45% from three-point range, better than 47% if I remember correctly. How in God's name does that guy not see the basketball? To me, I'm looking at CP3, I'm looking at Devin Booker, and they're looking to make plays, particularly for themselves. And this guy, Cameron Johnson, is standing out there wide open, waving for the ball, and neither of them find him. That's my issue with CP3 right now. Get Cameron Johnson the damn basketball. That's my issue.
Yeah, I mean, this is a debate show, but you're both right. You're both right. When the Suns were going real well in the first couple games, everyone was touching the ball. That sometimes more than once on a possession, they were getting easy buckets, right? And it was like Chris Paul picked up in that sense where he left off in the last series. And Perk, you're right on about what you said, in my opinion. But I just want to point this out. And I know you're not saying it's written in stone, the series is over. You're saying he needs to wake up. But let me just point this out. These dudes are writing their legacies right now. The reason sports is the greatest programming, the reason it's the greatest reality TV, is that these legacies are it's not scripted. These guys write the script. And I'll remind everybody, in the conference finals, even like the Lakers are hurt, so they get by the Lakers. Denver's hurt. Denver didn't have a chance without Jamal Murray. Then no Kawhi Leonard. And it looked like still they might lose to the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. Oh, no, Chris Paul, not this year. Even this year you can't get it done, even with this squad. And what was worse is he missed the first two games, and that's when they played their best basketball. And campaign looked great, and the offense looked great with him. Then Chris Paul comes back, and they look worse. Oh, no, this is going to be a disaster. You could have said the same thing about Chris Paul at that point in time. Then he came out in Game 6 and had one of the greatest performances you ever want to see to bring his team to the finals. He rewrote the script. He flipped the script just like that. So I'm saying, Perk, you're right about Chris Paul right now. I can't believe the foul on Giannis at the end of that game. And Stephen A., you say, well, it's a basketball play. Don't let him score. But there was no way he was going to stop him from scoring. He has to know that. You can't give him the ball back on the free throw line down 3 points with 15 seconds left. My point is this. He can still correct it. If he has a Game 6 like the one he had in the conference finals against the Clippers, this is going to a Game 7. He can win the championship. He is writing his legacy right now.
Yeah, look, Max and Stephen A., y'all both make good points, but let me educate y'all on what I was saying, and let me elaborate even more about what I'm talking about for us with Chris Paul, right? We all know how hard it is to get to the finals. Ask Chris Paul. It took him 16, 17 years to get there. He's finally there. What I'm saying is when you get to this moment, you have to embrace this moment. You have to feel this moment that like you'll never get this moment again. And right now when I'm watching CP3, he's not giving us that. Yes, okay, we know he could get the 20 and 10. He's just that good of a player. But when I talk about his leadership skills, when I talk about him being the enforcer from the point guard position, putting that dog into the whole team, putting that IQ into the whole team. Max, what you always talk about, when it matters the most, guess what? It matters the most. And right now, when you get down to the finals of Game 6, it's not about schemes. It's not about X's and O's. It's about who wanted the most. You look at Jrue Holiday and you look at CP3, and to me, Jrue Holiday wants it the most. I'm watching in Game 5, CP3 going stand in the corner in the fourth quarter, stand in the corner, shy away from the ball on the offensive end, not going to get the ball and set up a staggered double screen like he did, I believe, in Game 1 or Game 2 when he had DeAndre Ayton and he had Devin Booker setting the screen, Devin Booker getting a wide open shot assisted by CP3. I'm watching CP3 guard Cuttington in the corner on the defensive end while Jrue Holiday is going to work. Why is you not taking this matchup personal at this moment when it matters the most, the biggest stage of the NBA Finals? This is what I'm asking for when I'm talking about CP3.
Well, I don't think, I have no problem with what you're asking for. I think all is reasonable, and these are things that we've come to expect from CP3. But I also think that we have to be realistic about the level of limitations that he may have. Kendrick Perkins, you even highlighted how Drew Holiday, the transition for this Milwaukee Bucks team was when Budenholzer put Drew Holiday on CP3 and was picking him up 75 to 90 feet. It talked about noticing those 36-year-old legs, talking about age and attrition kicking in, particularly when you got a guy that's younger, bigger, stronger, faster, guarding him. And so you've got that obstacle to deal with. Then you've got dudes on the interior that are trees in a Giannis Antetokounmpo, in a Brook Lopez, with a Bobby Portis coming off the bench.